Throughout the year, we've been marking the 20th anniversary of Mario Andretti's World Championship season. It was at the 1978 Italian Grand Prix that Mario clinched the title. And recently, we asked him to reflect on his World Championship, on Ronnie Peterson, Colin Chapman, and the awesome Lotus 79.
I always like to think about my World Championship year because it was such a positive thing in every possible way. It was a culmination of all of my dreams as a child, and an accomplishment in my career that I hold so special.
1978 was a spectacular season for 38-year-old Mario Andretti. He won 6 of the 13 races before Monza, and along the way enjoyed a great relationship and friendly rivalry with his teammate Ronnie Peterson. But Andretti's championship wasn't won solely on the racetracks in 1978. It was just reward for 3 years of commitment to his partnership with Colin Chapman.
We were both at the very low of our career, and after race at Long Beach, one car doesn't make the race. His other car starts last. My team is coming apart. Next morning we're having breakfast, and we say, you know what, misery loves company. Let's get together. I think both you and I need another chapter, and that's how we started.
After a year of hard work, Andretti's mechanical expertise and Chapman's brilliance had made the car competitive. In 1976, they won the pole and the final race of the year in Japan. And the next year, Andretti won 4 races, more than any other driver. A lack of straight-line speed and reliability cost him that 1977 championship. In 1978, he won only 1 of the first 5 races, but was locked in a 5-way battle for the championship. But then, the Lotus 79 made its debut.
Well, we didn't know when we were going to debut it because we began the season in 1978 with the 78 model, and the 79 was still being tested. And as usual, they're always late. So we're going to Belgium, and I was slated to drive the 78, but Ronnie Peterson had tested in Sweden with the 79, and for some reason he wasn't saying very much. I said, uh-oh. I said, the car must be pretty good. So I think he was thinking of driving it himself, and that was just a really ratty test car. And that was the beginning of 79. The debut was phenomenal. But here's a car, as I say, was just strictly a test piece, but the ingredients were there, so we forcibly debuted it.
From that moment, Andretti and Peterson were dominant, but the Lotus 79 was not invincible.
Yeah, I did. A lot of shortcomings that, of course, since we were winning, were even ignored by Colin. I used to beg about getting better rear brakes. We lost the rear brakes in every race that I won. I hardly had maybe 50% braking power at best.
Andretti and Chapman had a great relationship. They had perseverance, ability, and a very special chemistry between them. But there was one obstacle between Mario and the World Championship. He had to beat his teammate Ronnie Peterson, thought by many to be the fastest driver of his generation and a superb natural talent. Some say Andretti won the title because of his contractual #1 status, and that Peterson, given free rein, could have won. But that's unfair to Andretti, who outqualified Peterson 5-2 in the races both had the Lotus 79. Their situation could easily have become contentious, but instead, they forged a great partnership.
He was the best teammate I ever had. He and I were good friends, and we had so much respect for one another. I respected his abilities tremendously and admired him. And again, it was just for he and I to race together with the same car and try to outdo each other was, ultimate satisfaction.
Then came Monza. Mario was up by 12 points over Peterson with 3 races left. A first-lap accident ended the championship battle. Ronnie Peterson was dead.
I wish it wouldn't have happened that way, of course. The best thing in my life happened, and also I had to be marred by the tragic loss of my friend, Ronnie. I'm sure Ronnie smiled for me up there, but I couldn't fully express myself, fully enjoy what I should have really enjoyed at that moment. But I have a lifetime, however, to still celebrate, if you will.
What a season. Derek, you were in that race at Monza in 1978. What's your story?
That was actually my second ever Grand Prix, and to see that videotape of the fire and the drivers trying to take Peterson out of the fire, I was one of those drivers, and I was absolutely scared stiff because I'd never, ever seen anything like that before. But the interesting thing I remember about that is the first words I ever said to Mario Andretti was after that crash. I was walking back to the pits up the straight from the crash. Mario had not seen it yet because he did a full lap ahead of the accident, was walking down, and I said, Mario, don't go down there. The first words I ever said to him has since become obviously a good friend. Now, also, the mind of a Formula One driver works in strange ways. I went back to my pit. I was so moved about what I saw. I was in tears at the back of the Ensign garage when Mo Nunn, who was my team owner at the time, he's now Zanardi's engineer, came up to me. I was still crying. He said, by the way, the spare car is ready, and the race starts in 10 minutes. I went out and had my best Grand Prix result at that time, finished 7th. But David, there's a lot of ironies also to what happens at Monza.
Well, of course, Monza has certainly seen more than its fair share of death and glory, because not only did 2 world champions win their championships with their teammate being killed on the same day, but of course this is also the scene where Jochen Rindt crashed in practice for the Grand Prix of Italy in 1970 and went on to be first and only posthumous world champion. And of course, one has to feel terribly badly for both Mario and Phil Hill, where their teammates were killed on what should have been their greatest day of glory ever, horribly, horribly tainted by the death of close friends and teammates.
Yeah.